Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dalsan TV English News Bulletin. I'm Ifrah Noor. Now let's have a look at the top stories that are making headlines for the day. UAE and Bahraini military trainers killed in deadly Al-Shabaab attack in Mogadishu. Somalia calls on AU and UN to condemn controversial Somaliland-Ethiopia MOU. President Mohamud criticizes Ethiopia over MOU agreement. And finally, Al-Shabaab mortar attack leaves civilians dead in Somalia's Mudug region. Welcome back, dear viewers. Now let's delve into the full bulletin. The Somali government has fervently appealed to the African Union and the United Nations to take principled stance on the controversial MOU agreement between Somaliland and Ethiopia.
The Somali government has made a fervent appeal to the African Union, AU, and the United Nations, UN, to adopt a principled stance regarding the controversial Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between the breakaway region of Somaliland and Ethiopia. In a statement released on Sunday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also urged the two intergovernmental organizations to condemn Ethiopia's unwarranted aggression into Somalia. We call upon member states of the African Union, as well as the United Nations, to take a principled position on the illegal MOU and denounce Ethiopia's unwarranted aggression against Somalia's sacrosanct sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity. Read the statement issued by the ministry. The statement further emphasized Somalia's consistent commitment to upholding the sovereignty of all UN and AU member states. It underscored the country's dedication to maintaining peaceful regional relations while expecting adherence to international laws. It also affirmed Somalia's right to respond to any actions that challenge its sovereignty, relying on the support of the international community against such violations. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs highlighted that the widely condemned MOU was an attempt to divert attention from Somalia's significant achievements in 2023. These achievements included the successful completion of the debt relief process, the lifting of the 30-year-long UN arms embargo, and Somalia's ascension into the East African Community, EAC, a vibrant regional bloc. Moreover, the statement pointed out that Somalia's constitution and national laws do not grant any powers to regional administrations, including Somaliland, to enter into agreements with other countries. The MOU, therefore, constitutes a clear violation of Somalia's sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity. Additionally, Ethiopia's unprovoked action is deemed a dangerous breach of international law and the norms of cooperation between sisterly nations, according to Somalia's government. The MOU, signed on January 1st between Ethiopia and Somaliland, granted Ethiopia access to the Red Sea port in exchange for international recognition. However, Somalia views this agreement as illegal and a direct challenge to its sovereignty.
Tragedy struck a military training camp in Mogadishu as 4 military trainers, including 3 from the UAE and 1 from Bahrain, were killed. The assailants infiltrated the camp and opened fire, leading to the loss of lives. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud called for swift and decisive action against the perpetration, highlighting the urgent needs to address this security breach.
At least 4 military trainers, including 3 from the United Arab Emirates, UAE, and 1 from Britain, Bahrain, were killed at a military training camp in the city of Mogadishu. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud confirmed the tragic loss of life and called for decisive action against the perpetrators who had infiltrated the camp and opened fire. The UAE Ministry of Defense issued a statement confirming the incident, stating that 3 UAE military trainers and 1 Bahraini officer were killed at the General Gordon's military training facility in Mogadishu. The attack, classified as a terrorist act, has drawn widespread condemnation and raised concerns about security in the region. The trainers had been fulfilling their mission to train and enhance the capabilities of the Somali armed forces as part of the bilateral agreement between the UAE and Somalia, aimed at strengthening military cooperation between the two countries. The Ministry of Defense expressed deep condolences to the families of the fallen officers and wished a swift recovery to the injured. The UAE Ministry of Defense reiterated its commitment to working closely with the Somali government to investigate the heinous act of terrorism. Reports indicate that the attacker had gained access to the camp from within, targeting the advisors who resided in the highly fortified airport area but regularly visited the training camp to oversee the training of the Somali soldiers. Mr. Mohamud immediately ordered security agencies to conduct a swift investigation into the attack and vowed to take strong action against those responsible. He offered his heartfelt condolences to the families of the slain trainers, condemning the act in the strongest terms. Mr. President also highlighted the significance of the UAE's presence in Mogadishu, as they played a crucial role in rebuilding the Somali army. Somalia has been intensifying its efforts to combat the Al-Shabaab group within the country, with foreign troops also providing vital support in training and equipping local forces. The country has set the goal of completely eradicating the militants by December 2024.
Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has strongly criticized Ethiopia following its maritime agreement with Somaliland, a breakaway region of Somalia. During a recent interview, President Mohamud warned Ethiopia, indicating that they may be another country fueling the situation, and emphasized the need to address the implications of the agreement. Our reporter has more on this story.
This great summit here in Rome.
Mr. President, speaking about Somalia, we saw the agreement that the government of Ethiopia did with Somaliland about the harbor. What are the reasons that you believe stand behind this agreement? Why they did it? What may be the consequences? And how do you believe that your government could stop this from happening?
Thank you very much. First of all, Somalia and Ethiopia are two neighboring countries. And we are not neighbors by choice. We are neighbors by the, brought by the eternal. We have 1,700 kilometers of border. This border is not marked. It's a provisional border. If you go to the map, you will see it's a cut, it's not a direct line. And being a neighbors, we have a history of 600 years. That history was a very, very violent history. Jihad, crusade on both sides was led. But that chapter of history ended in 1990 when both this Ethiopian state and the Somali state collapsed. Siad Barre of Somalia and Mengistu Haile Mariam of Ethiopia, they ran away from the two countries, and the two countries went into a civil war, and then we came back. So we Somalis, when we reestablished the Third Republic, which is running Somalia today in 2000, our understanding was we closed that chapter. So we're going to open a new chapter of economic integration, new chapter of borderless territories, new chapter of supporting each other. The Italian government has been supporting that initiative, the Horn Economic Integration Initiative. And the Prime Minister Meloni, she came to Addis Ababa, and we have a trilateral meeting in Addis Ababa, Somalia, Ethiopia, and Italy. We've agreed that we will develop a joint infrastructure and a joint economic hub for both countries and for the rest of Africa as well. And the Prime Minister has promised that Italy will support that initiative, and Italy will advocate that initiative within Europe as well. So it was good. Then we have a second meeting here in Rome again. So that was the environment that we have been working. That was the hope, and that was the future we have been envisioning. Unfortunately, 1st January this year, this thing happened. Somaliland, yes, they claim that they break away from Somalia, but that was the case for the last 31 years. And no one country in the world has recognized it. Somaliland, no, IGAT has not recognized it, AU has not recognized it, the Arab League, which we are part, has not recognized it, and Ethiopia has not recognized it for 30 years. Out of blue, it just happened now. I cannot explain why, but there are a lot of speculations. Somalia is just turning the corner and coming back to its rightful position. So do it before it become a strong country or again back to its position, maybe one of the ideas. Maybe other ideas. But what I know is that Ethiopia has no capacity at all to build a naval base and a port and a corridor of highways and terrain and all this. There must be a hidden hand behind this initiative, but it will come out. The government of Somalia, the Federal Republic of Somalia has rejected the idea. We go into IGAD. IGAD has rejected, the AU and the United Nations and the EU as well. All has rejected by respecting the international law, a sacrosanct principle that says the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of each member state has to be respected. That is where the situation is. And this is a time, you know, in 2006, when the Islamic Courts Union, a group of Islamists, took over many parts of Somalia, Ethiopia intervened in Somalia. They send 50,000 troops to Somalia, and they go all the way to Mogadishu. Because of that intervention, these terrorist groups, extremist groups, they were within the Islamist groups, but they were not out and they were not prominent. Because of that intervention, now they got up and they took the old idea of jihad and all this, and then they also have attracted the ultra-nationalists, whom whenever they heard Ethiopia become so agitated. And that was the biggest war that happened there. So again, things cool down. We have been telling the people that there are these opportunities that we had. Now, again, in 2023, it was the year that we have degraded Al-Shabaab to the lowest level in its history of 16 years.
And for our final story, a mortar attack orchestrated by Al-Shabaab militants late Friday night in the Amara area of the Mudug region has claimed the lives of multiple civilians, leaving a community in mourning and underscoring the persistent threats posed by the insurgent group.
A mortar attack orchestrated by Al-Shabaab militants late Friday night in the Amara area has resulted in the tragic loss of multiple civilian lives, leaving the community in mourning and serving as a stark reminder of the ongoing threat posed by the insurgent group. According to military officials, the attack involved approximately 10 mortars and resulted in the deaths of both parents, while their son was injured when their home was struck. Tragically, another civilian, a woman, also lost her life when her home was hit by the mortar fire. The responsibility for this abhorrent act has been confirmed to lie with Al-Shabaab. The village of Amara, which had recently been liberated from the control of Al-Shabaab, was among the last in the Mudug region to be freed from the grip of the militant group. The attack serves as a grim reminder that despite significant progress in pushing back Al-Shabaab, the threat they pose remains persistent. This recent assault follows a series of confrontations between Somali forces and Al-Shabaab militants in the Mudug region. Notably, a major raid by Al-Shabaab in the Ad area on January 24th marked a significant escalation in the conflict, resulting in heavy casualties on both sides. While government forces, aided by local militias, managed to repel the attack according to the Somali National News Agency, Al-Shabaab claimed victory and alleged substantial losses on the government side. On February 3rd, Somali military forces successfully foiled an Al-Shabaab attack in the Shabalo village, leading to the killing of at least 21 militants. This operation highlighted the ongoing efforts to combat the group in the southern Mudug region. In response to Al-Shabaab's continued attacks and their propagandized claims of government casualties, Galmudug's security minister, Mohammed Abdi Adan Gabobi, has emphasized the exaggerated nature of Al-Shabaab's assertions. He reaffirmed the Somali government's unwavering determination to confront and defeat the militant threat. Supported by international partners, Somalia has intensified airstrikes targeting Al-Shabaab strongholds, while preparing for a comprehensive ground offensive aimed at neutralizing the group's influence in the country. The mortar attacks on Friday occurred just one day after a lone al-Shabaab gunman targeted UAE and Bahraini military trainers at the General Gordon military camp in Mogadishu.
Dear viewers, that's all we have prepared for you tonight. Kindly stay connected to Dalsan TV platforms and we wish you a lovely evening.